Demonstrators clashed with New York police last night over the decision not to charge an officer in the death of Eric Garner. Until then, the protests were mostly peaceful, nothing like the rioting that we saw in Ferguson, Missouri last week after a grand jury cleared the police officer who killed Michael Brown. Michelle Miller looks at how preparation and experience help make a difference. Michelle, good morning.
Good morning. Well, more than 200 protesters have been arrested this week in New York, most for disorderly conduct violations. The mayor has thanked demonstrators for remaining calm while exercising their First Amendment rights. He's also commended police for showing proper restraint.
I can't breathe.
Within hours of the news that a grand jury declined to indict Officer Daniel Pantaleo Wednesday, thousands spread across New York City and blocked traffic. Like last week's protest in Missouri, these demonstrations were televised live across the nation, but did not result in widespread destruction. New York City Police Commissioner Bill Bratton.
Demonstrators were not intent on committing violence, and the police were certainly intent on allowing them room to demonstrate, if you will.
Is New York uniquely qualified to have a situation like this?
Well, I think one of the things that we benefit from is that we have so many demonstrations. I have 150 events on average every week in the city.
Last week, Ferguson exploded despite assurances that law enforcement had a plan months in the making. Businesses and police cars were torched. Looters ransacked stores. Police fired tear gas, and dozens were arrested for arson and robbery.
There's no question that a lack of operational experience has an impact potentially on performance.
Steve Iams is a former Missouri police chief. He acted as a police observer to the response in Ferguson.
Most of those officers would have never stood on a skirmish line, never held a shield, never had a gas mask on in an environment like that.
Iams says deployment in New York also made a difference. 5,000 cops were standing by on Wednesday, many already in Midtown Manhattan to control crowds at the annual Christmas tree lighting. Missouri's governor activated 700 National Guardsmen before the grand jury's decision, but the troops were not deployed until the morning after the riots. An additional 2,200 troops were then brought in to secure the Ferguson area, but by then the damage was done.
Beyond question, there were 25 fires, 24 buildings burnt to the ground, and in hindsight, it's easy for many to criticize that resources weren't put where they needed to be.
Commissioner Bratton sent NYPD detectives to Ferguson to observe protesters' tactics, and that may have helped them hone their response.
Michelle, thanks.